You ever just stop and think, what's my take on all this? Yeah, that's real.
As an entrepreneur, or I'd say a businessman, of course, I love to respond to people who threaten to take their support somewhere else, claiming that they are only using my service because they are supporting me. I love to respond to them that I'm not looking for people who support me, but I'm looking for clients. It turns out to be a rude statement, of course, but it's the truth. Because if we look at support itself, it means someone is buying a service or a good that they don't need. They're just doing it for you. They are less than a 10% chances of that person coming back to buy the same product or the same services from you, since the last time they bought it or they actually booked your services while they don't need it because they were supporting you. But when you have a client, you have someone who have used your product or your services because they need it. There are high chances of coming back to you or refer to others who have the same problem, which is something which is unlikely to happen to people who are claiming to support you by buying or using your services or goods. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mbala Dwarant, aka Lord Dwarant. Welcome to my Take podcast. Today I'll be talking about why business or business ideas does not make it that big or always fail in the villages. So as we continue with the Village Chronicles, today I just decided to embark on the market side, the financial state of the villages, the problems, and looking at the most baseline or the foundation line where the exchange of money happens, or I'll say the supply chain or value chain. Whatever it is, man, I'm not here for business classes. I'm here to give out my take. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the third episode of my Take podcast. I said there's quite a few things that I will be talking about today. To summarize, talking about the low market, the CET, limited purchasing power, informal competition, infrastructure gaps, talent drain, cultural adoption, etc. And then one of the most things that I'll be focusing on, the most crucial factor, is social expectations. Founders face pressure to give discounts, sponsor events, or support the community into margins before the business gains momentum, which sounds true until you look into the depth of it. This is like a two-sided coin. There's always two sides of the story, even including in what I'll be talking about. So let us first look at what kind of businesses actually that are failing in the villages. Someone would say in overall all businesses, but we are looking at the consistency of Somalians in the villages. You'll see how they are striving, and someone will argue the progress of Somalians or those people who are having shops in our villages. Will argue them using them about the lowest prices that they offer, in which is one of the measures but not a main major problem about the business or failing ideas in the villages. We are going to look at of course the spaza shop topic has been like quite a common topic to a lot of us, in such a way that we grew up buying from spazas until these Somalians arrived. So now we are buying from Somalians. But let us look at other factors. We cannot all run spaza shops. There is a whole bigger picture of the concept of business ideas or business initiatives, looking at the evolution based on the digital world or digital times that we are within now, or we find ourselves in at this current moment. There's a lot that has been happening. People are able to sell things without having to own like real products. People are selling, I'll say, like a second hand or like a refurbished products. Like there's a whole load of business ideas that are involved right now, and when you look at them, some of them are taking place in the villages, just like the WhatsApp market, where people are selling the second hand phones and stuff like that. Some people are selling sneakers. Today we are not here to criticize about the counterfeit or not and stuff. We are only here to talk about why are these people failing to grow in the industry? Because if we may track almost each and every kind of business that we have or know of, they have to come from somewhere. There has to be a background of that business. There's somewhere that they needed to start. And then to look at it in a better way, we are going to look at how they transitioned. So as I've mentioned, evolution and stuff like that, there's a whole lot of game-changing aspects in which I would say we've been ignorant to, or most local entrepreneurs or wannabes or aspiring entrepreneurs have shied away from or have been ignorant to. It is what we are going to discuss in this short brief of time. I've already introduced myself and introduced the topic. Let me first grab on the most common thing that I've experienced with our local people. We have people who are owning brands in such a way that when we're talking about brands, we're not talking about branding or a name brand, we're talking about clothing brands. This is the most common business that you can ever find in the villages. But when we look at the competition, as we've said in one of my points here, that we are going to also look at informal competition. I can see that Anju is selling sneakers maybe at 1.5, and then I just happen to know the supplier or dig into it and find out that I can also sell the very same sneaker beating Anju with just 50 rand. And it is an opportunity that I'm going to take, looking at the market and looking at how Hanju is doing at that current moment. This is one of them, and an informal competition that's involved. But that's not the major thing. The major thing is short vision, the implementation of strategies, the lack of persistence and consistency, the behavior when it comes to finance. I'll say financial behavior. Most of our businesses are not structured, which makes it a point that they don't even have a vision, a mission, nor a goal. And if it happens that you find out that a business that exists within the village, if they are structured based on falsity, I'll say, or I'll say bad intentions, or uninformed decisions and desires. We are trying to grow big our difference in order to meet social expectations. For an instance, if I'm selling my t-shirts right now, first thing first, I've branded it my name or whatever. It's some creative thing that is doing the most. What I'm going to do is that when I sell these t-shirts, I am not structuring the bigger picture of it. I am only waiting for that moment for a spotlight where I am trending. Basically, I'm just going to work hard to collaborate with, I'll say, influencers, artists, and stuff, in which is the common advice that most of us get as aspiring entrepreneurs or business people. So there is a gap that we have left there. While looking towards that, we are not looking at the bigger picture or the bigger vision of our business. We implement strategies, of course. We sponsor events, implement strategies, like in matter of supporting the community. But you cannot give what you don't have. You understand? In a way that what I'm trying to say is that the strategies that we implement in order to grow our businesses are something that are above our level, something that we shouldn't be looking into. We should only look into unless we reach a certain level in our business. I've seen a lot of local brands. They always end up like selling t-shirts and like different designs. And when you look at the brands still, I didn't want to even talk about it. But when you look at the brand, it is not something which is safe to call a brand. It's more like rebranding. Like you buy a certain design of a t-shirt from wherever, in whatever stock price or wherever, and then you come back and print it, your own design that you made through a phone or a computer, which is a good hustle. I'm not saying it's bad, Nji, but at the end of the day, it's not something which we should actually be building or aiming to grow only into, because it's something that does not bring change, which also does not guarantee that much of our growth in the business. If we look at the designer clothes, you will understand that the authenticity that they claim, or the ownership that they claim in their garments. Like, who was the master who sold the product? What can they say about the product before the design? And now, as a rebrander, it means your supply depends on, yes, your supply depends on what your supply have. So basically, if you run out of a certain supply, maybe design, which was highly on demand and which was able and can be able to take your business to another level, you might lose it if the supply cut off anyway. But then if we were aiming for something, or like a control ownership over what we do, I believe some of us, as like the brand owners, as I've used the clothing brands as an example, that we will use something like having that mentality that now I can start by like rebranding these clothes or this kind of design, like doing what I've already said, buying a t-shirt and going to print whatever that I want to print and come back to sell it. And then when I have this amount, I can be able to sue my design or partner with anyone that can be able to enable me get my designs. We understand you cannot produce like cotton or like a cloth. You might be limited to that as much as a lot of people who are in the business. So that's where you get to partner with brand barin. Is it clothing designers? If you cannot design, like, that's how a business grows. Because I believe that the brands that you know already has got all those kinds of different departments, and in which that they have started like this. Some of them didn't even know how to design clothes, but he had an idea and the picture of what he see, and some designer put it up for him in order to grow. So what we lack in the business, it's ownership. In the villages, I mean to say, it's ownership to what we are trying to create or what we are trying to build from. You understand? It's what I was trying to break in these 14 minutes, of course. I don't know if I made sense, in which I cannot list each and everything. But as I've mentioned already, like the strategies that we use to grow our businesses. You know, we are able to draft events or draft a campaign that will cost us a certain amount that we couldn't even make half of the amount back after that event. It's one of the disadvantages, maybe an inevitable one. What the fuck? An inevitable one. Yes, it's inevitable. Ish, you know what? This English thing, I should stop it. In that way, it's something that we are facing. We are trying to make something out of our brand, but yet we need finances in order to enable certain strategies to work for us. This is deep, good people. I wish I could take you further than this, but for today, I am very, very, very overwhelmed by what I just shared here. So, going forth, poor business systems. What I just said. Entrepreneurs start with passion, but no structure, no CRM, no SOPs, no workflows. Without system, even great ideas collapse under operational noise. What's an operational noise? Buy my brand, support my brand. What's an operational noise? Hey, if you don't buy from me, you are not supporting. Hey, support black dog. Stop with that bullshit. Focus on something credible. Sell value. This is one of the disadvantages that we are facing in the villages. We are not taught the difference between a value of the product or the service we are providing and the value of sympathy. You know, sympathy can only spark everything that you want to achieve, but cannot get you anywhere. Support black businesses. Dog, what do you think will make me buy something because a black person is selling it, even though it's not having the value that I'm not looking for, even if it's not something that I'm not looking for, if it's not solving something from me, there's no need for me to buy because someone is selling it. That's not enough. We've claimed sympathy, and I think white people have said sorry quite long enough. I'm not just standing with them or with any oppression against black people, but I'm just saying that it's time to stop using the sympathy to grow our business. It's time to stop using like guilt. guilt tripping people into growing our business, which has proven to be effective. We have wasted enough time to hear about such stories, passion to do something, but having no structure, having no goal. Like you can't even have a record, a simple record of a slip of your purchase of your stock. You throw it or you chew it along the way when you come back from buying, or you left it with the security guard who signed it off. You know why? It's because you only have passion, but without what? No structure. You are going nowhere. You are not selling, or you are not in business for selling. You are in business for sympathy. That's what I noticed about the village people, and it's what I'm calling out to every entrepreneur out there, that people get up, be wise, and stay woke, and stop looking for sympathy, and stop begging for people to support your business, and start creating real value and giving real value to your clients. One of the things that makes my clients trust me is that I'm not begging them to support me. I'm telling them why they should use my service and why I am a perfect candidate or a perfect man for the job that they have inquired about. Like, if you cannot say much about your business, what do you expect it to grow? Let's go back to empowerment. We've been long sitting, waiting for the government to empower us through knowledge and stuff. The programs do come, but we still see like a lot of complications, or I would say fraud. I wouldn't want to actually point out anyone or say things that I don't have facts about, but I'll say there's still fraud involved, there's still complications involved. There are programs which are run by the public institutions, the government, which help entrepreneurs to wake up, to stand up, to do something about their ideas and stuff like that. But unfortunately, only a few people can have access to that. Now, what do we do about that? Did we ever try to come up and sit down and talk about it, teach each other on what to do? No. You know why? Because of the informal competition that we talked about. It's what is dragging us as the business owners in the villages. We cannot collaborate into a one thing. We fail even to do the most minor thing, to refer one another. You understand? We are able to hold grudges against one another without having that a clear, I'd say, maybe enough motive. Simply because you're doing business, I'm doing business. I'm a cameraman, you are a cameraman, I just have to hate you. That's bullshit. We just need to learn to come together and fill the gap which we think or assume maybe is the responsibility of the government. What am I trying to say about this? Have you ever realized that if we came up together, we can come up with strong events or a big something, even workshops that can work for all of our businesses, that can enable trust to all of our clients, regardless of what we do? Is there any difference in what we do in such a way that I'm a photographer, maybe you're someone who is in a catering and stuff, but we can also find a way to collaborate into that. Fashion designers, when those catering people need t-shirts and stuff like that, we are unable to do that because we lack the empowerment that we should be having, hence everything flops. What happens when I get my big gig, my first big check, or having a lot of gigs that enables me to make enough money? I move out. The gap that was there that I was supposed to fill, now I'm taking it to town, to the green pastures. I understand no one is willing to be a Jesus for everyone because Jesus is already there. But this thing of migrating for better opportunities, of course, leaves everyone who comes after you in the same position that you are trying to avoid, and you have fought hard just to take it away from everyone else. But this one, it's something which people won't understand. The real issue is us as entrepreneurs. What do we do about our businesses? What are we waiting for in order to get us to where we want? When are we going to start to collaborate? Not only with other entrepreneurs, but with anyone. The very same way we don't work with ambassadors and influencers. It's the same way we can bring up our businesses. What is another thing that has stopped us? In the next few minutes, allow me to talk about limited purchasing power. No, low market density. Consumer values are thin. This one that we are guys. Thank you for your time, good people. I'd like to hear from you. What do you think is the reason why most business ideas or businesses in the villages does not make it? Other than the Somalians that we've talked about and stuff like that, what's your take on it? That was my take. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with me until this time. And if you just tuned in, you just joined me, this is Lord Warrant. I'm here with you until, I don't know, maybe Jesus comes back or until whenever. So I'll be here on my next episode introducing another topic on my social media platforms. Be sure to partake and tell me what you think about this one. Ladies and gentlemen, that was my take for today about this, and I'm Gerara here. Make sure to hit subscribe and follow, and as well as share this podcast to your friends and families. I hope to see you one more time. And I've got a message for you. The Lazy Room podcast is going to season 2. We are launching our season 2. Our episode 1 will stream with my co-host Polite Deity. Of course, we are also taking things to another level, taking things to greater heights. Good people, I'm your boy Lord Warren the second. Without any waste of time, I'll see you when you see me. I'm Gerara here. Salute. Yo.